Hello, church, and today we're having a little bit of a discussion. It's more of an open forum with me and Avery
Hi.
Nugent. He's one of our leading professors on theology, and everything going on in Connected Life. This guy is plugged in like you wouldn't imagine. So, Avery, tell us a little bit about the Connected to the Vine series we've been going through.
So, if the God is the gardener and Jesus is the vine, and God will cut off any vine that does not bear fruit. But if a man remains in him and I in you, he will bear much fruit. And God will not cut that part off because that whoever he did that was going to be thankful, and Jesus is proud of him. And here's a verse that I know. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing.
Wow, Avery, thank you for that little exposition on what we've been discussing on Sundays. What do you think about this last lesson that New gave us on self-control?
Well, self-control means like if you have a lot of candy and you get super hyper, you can read the Bible, and when you learn about self-control, you can actually control yourself. That's why it's called you're controlling yourself. That's why it's called self-control.
Okay, so what does it mean to have self-control?
So like let's say I ate a bunch of candy and I was being so crazy.
Yeah.
That's really hard to be like controlling yourself. That's why it's self-control is the end. And God actually made the fruit of the Spirit for an example, but self-control is one of like it's the last fruit of the Spirit, and it's like almost like the best fruit of the Spirit ever because you can like control yourself. And like it's like if you eat a candy, you won't be like crazy, you won't be mean, or if you like watch too much TV, you can get in a bad mood. But by using self-control, you can control yourself, not get crazy, and do all those sorts of things.
Okay. What is your favorite fruit of the Spirit?
I think joy, because people are joyful, and some people actually live a joyful life, just like in the Jews in the Bible, and just like Paul. And Jesus lived a joyful life. And some people think some people doesn't believe in the Gospels, and they thinks the devil is the best and powerful, but that's wrong. Our God is powerful, and maybe they just don't read the Bible. And I once said hi to someone and I said, "Do you go to church?" And they said no, and they don't read the Bible either. And a lot of people don't go to church, but I'm thankful that we have it. We have our church. And also you should be thankful for what you have. Thankfulness.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit, what's the difference to you between joy and happiness?
Well, joy is like when you're like having a good, not like having a good day, and like you're filled with joy, and like playing with your friends, like politely, and having so much joy, it can be so joyful, and you might live a good, very good, joyful life. And is like love is a feeling. Joy is an action.
You mean happiness?
I mean happiness.
Happiness, okay.
Is like when you're happy, like let's say you were going to a baseball game and then you won it. Like tonight I have a baseball game and we won it. I won the baseball game.
Knock it out of the park? Give him an old home run?
Yeah, I didn't run all the bases at once.
No.
But here's the thing I learned from baseball that my mom told me. You might get strike out sometimes, but at least you can try again. And I'm actually the first one to bat, and I actually never got out on batting. Like, I never got out on hitting the ball.
Wow.
But I did get out when someone tagged the base or tagged me So happiness is like when you win a game, you're so happy and like joyful too. But happiness is like kind of like a feeling, and joy is an action because you're being joyful in your actions.
Okay.
And happiness is kind of like a feeling, but sometimes you can be really happy, and that can sometimes be an action.
Okay, interesting. What's your favorite part about learning about the fruit of the Spirit?
My favorite part about learning the fruit of the Spirit is because God is always with us, and Jesus is with us, even though we don't hear him. He answers our prayers too. Sometimes I pray and they're really good prayers. Some other people pray and they're really good too. Some are better than mine. But God in heaven will have the happiest life we'll ever have. But the fruit of the Spirit is God created the fruit of the Spirit for a reason. And so I don't really know the reason, but here's what I know. God created the fruit of the Spirit because because it's like an easier example for us to learn. It's like kind of like an easier example for children like my age. But for like Lewis's age, it's kind of like it's easier to learn. So they kind of make it. It's like the grown-ups way is kind of a little harder. But then on Wednesday night we read chapters, and it's really fun. And then we play ping pong and stuff. When I was when I was like Ari's age, I used to be joyful, so joyful and happy.
And now what are you?
I'm a 7-year-old, and and it's kind of hard being the oldest in the family.
So tell us more about that. What's hard about being the oldest son in the
like
Nugent
hard.
household?
It's hard because they have to be respectful, and it's really hard to be respectful. So it's hard, and I'm like the oldest cousin, like in my mom's family, like the oldest cousin. But in my dad's family, they're older. But I'm like the oldest cousin of my mom's family, and it's really hard because my cousin is older, but I'm like 4 months older than her, even though she's 7, because I was born before her.
Okay.
And like as I grew, I learned more about the Bible, and then I started to read a little bit. I started to read a lot, and then I can read books. And now I have an action Bible book that even when I get sent to my room and I do something wrong, I read it every time. I read it at night, I read it at day, I read it almost all the time, almost every day.
Wow, that's good. So, what's your favorite part about reading the Bible?
About reading the Bible, like I like all the stories, and I learned something. I didn't know that Samson, the story of Samson and Delilah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but I didn't realize David was after that. I didn't realize it was after Samson, the story of Samson and Delilah. I didn't realize. I thought Samson and Delilah were back in the New Testament, but then I realized it was closer to like Noah and the Ark and Abraham.
Yeah, they're pretty old.
Yeah, and then I realized this: the Samson story and Delilah. I didn't know that they were before David and Goliath. I thought they were after David and Goliath.
Okay, one question for you. Who do you think would win, Samson or Goliath? And a little bit about why you think he would win.
I think Samson would win because he got the strength from the power of God, and the power of God can never fail.
That's true. He was pretty strong, but
Yeah.
Goliath was a giant.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Well, at least. But Samson would, like, just because he's small doesn't mean he can't defeat the Goliath. And like.
Well, David defeated him, but he used a rock. What if Samson doesn't have a rock? What if he has to use only his hands?
Yeah, but he would get weapons and stuff. But he wouldn't fail.
Okay, but what do you think about Samson barehanded versus Samson with a donkey's jawbone?
Like he defeated the Philistines once.
Yeah.
That would probably not work with just what was it again? The lion's jawbone.
I believe it's a donkey's jawbone.
No. Wait, I think it was. No, I think it was an ox.
No, I don't think so.
I
don't know, but let's just say it was some,
it's
piece
some
of bone.
Animal. Some like an animal.
Yeah.
That's how he defeated the Philistines. There was like 300 or 10,000 Philistines, and then he beat them all because God's power.
Yep.
That's like bigger than Goliath if it
true.
was a giant, but then yeah, like.
So who do you think would win in this fight? How about Samson versus the fish that swallowed Jonah?
He would probably win if it was on land. It can't die within water. Only if God gave him the ability to not, you can breathe underwater. But like with a knife, he could probably kill the fish.
Okay. So I mean, it's also, you can also consider if they're fighting on land or if they're fighting in the water, then who wins?
What about like shallow water and then on
That's
land?
true. So Samson can kind of stand, and then the fish can kind of swim a little bit.
Yeah.
So who wins that one then?
I think Samson would.
You think Samson?
Yeah, he would get a sword, and it's pretty easy to kill a fish.
Okay, but the fish
Like a
was
shark.
probably very big.
Yeah, but it's like 10 sharks. Like 10 great white sharks. Or what if it was 10 great white sharks?
I wouldn't want to fight that, I'll tell you that much.
No.
But anyways, these have been the hard-hitting questions coming at you straight from the Connected Life studio. This has been Luis and Avery.
Bye.
Bye.